When were you called? 2016. 2016 when? February or November? November. November when? 21st, 22nd, or 23rd? 23rd November. 23rd November when? Morning or afternoon call? Afternoon call. I was called in the morning. I'm your senior. My lord, may I mention case number 20 on the course list? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Mojola Olua in the building. Yay! Thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and leave me comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. What would you like me to talk about? Can you relate to my experiences as I share my experience as a Nigerian lawyer? It's Bar Talk with Ọlá. Hi guys, welcome to this episode of Talk with Ọlá. It's Mojola Olua, your favorite lawyer in the building. Today, let's finally address the civil war going on at the Nigerian bar. By civil war, I'm talking about the age war. How old are you at the bar? When were you called? And so on and so forth. Now, for perspective, for those who don't know, age is a very big thing at the Nigerian bar. Age is not just a number, it's a deciding factor. It can make or mar your day in court. So I want to talk about a day that I actually went to court with my senior, and we ended up sitting for hours observing proceedings and never getting to do our own matter because someone somehow started an age fight, and it did not work out well for all parties, including ourselves. So I used to be in jurisdiction where everyone knew every other person at the bar. It was like a very close-knit jurisdiction, a few lawyers, not so few, but at least everyone knew everyone. So I was in that jurisdiction. Age was not really a deciding factor. There wasn't much of a fight regarding age. Then the judge made it very easy because he had his own policy. So this is one thing. There's what's called seniority at the bar. Essentially, it means that when proceedings are going on in a day, those who are senior are given the privilege of, calling their matter out of turn and doing their case ahead of those who are junior to them. The rule is that SAN, Senior Advocates of Nigeria, can go ahead and do their matter at any time. They can come at any time and do their matter. Theirs goes first. After that, the other lawyers take it in turns by seniority. On a normal day, it should be as you come to court or as your matter appears on the court list, but that's not the case. Usually it's by age. So in the jurisdiction where I was before, everyone knew everyone. So you knew that, oh, this is my senior, this is my junior. So there wasn't much of an age fight. There was a day that an SAN came very late. They had to stop proceedings for him to call his matter out of turn and do his matter. I can remember it vividly because he was even cracking jokes and telling us what happened on the plane while he was coming. And then the other people got to do their own matters. So that's the way it happens at the Nigerian bar. I'm a young lawyer, so I don't really get into these fights, and hopefully I do not want to get into these fights at any point in time. So since I'm young, I just sit down, I wait for all my seniors to call their cases. I just assume that most people in court are my seniors. I allow them call their cases, and then when it's my turn, it's glaring that it's my turn, so I just do my matter and I leave. I can remember there was a day that I got to court very early, even before the judge, and I ended up being the last person to do my matter that day because every other person was senior, including people that came after me. Just kept coming in, calling their matter out of turn, doing their cases and leaving. And I had to do my matter last. But no problem, it comes with the age, and it's something that I understand. What I don't understand, however, is why some lawyers would choose to fight and cause a ruckus in court just because they want to prove and show and assert their right as a senior at the bar. So this happened on a day that I was in court with my principal. It was a divorce matter, and the other party who had delayed the proceedings by not coming to court earlier had decided to come at that stage, and then they had told the court at the last sitting they had a Supreme Court decision in favor of their preliminary objection to our process. they had a problem with the way we had filed our process, and they had raised a preliminary objection, and they had told us that they had a Supreme Court decision in support, and we were all eager. The court wanted to hear the argument. We wanted to hear the argument. We wanted to, know what's the Supreme Court decision. What's the mighty, wonderful Supreme Court decision you want to use to pull our case down? We are so ready for this. So we got to court. We sat down. We had seen them. We had exchanged pleasantries and all of that. Proceeding had begun for the day. So, it was a very funny, very funny situation in court that day. There were different matters. Divorce matters can generally be funny. All manner of things come up during examination. I can remember that there was a case of a woman whose husband had offered to pay a certain amount of money for the maintenance of herself and her children, since they were getting a divorce, and she wasn't happy with it, and she wasn't happy with what he had offered, and she was asking for more. And then I could remember there was one about a woman whose husband was not even offering to pay anything at all, and she was trying to get the court to make him pay a lot of money. And many people were arguing in court, lawyers and the judge and all of that were arguing that you know this man, his means of livelihood, he cannot afford what you're offering, you have to be reasonable and all of that. But that's not the discussion for today. So eventually it was almost our turn, and a lawyer had called a matter, and I just finished that matter, a female lawyer, and then a male lawyer who happened to be our own opposing counsel jumped up and called this matter. As soon as he got up and called this matter, an elderly man at the back, also at the bar, jumped up and called his own matter. And then the other lawyer was looking at him and was like, "Sir, I'm already on my feet." Usually in Nigeria, when a lawyer is on his feet, every other lawyer in court is supposed to sit down, because two lawyers cannot be on their feet at the bar speaking to the court at the same time. So even if you're in the same matter, once one person stands up, the other person is supposed to sit down. So we were all wondering, okay, someone has to sit down for the other person. This younger lawyer was saying that it was his turn, and that he was age mates at the bar with the lady that just done a matter and left. But this other older man was saying that he was senior to him, and so he wanted to call his own matter. And then they started arguing, "When were you called? When were you called? I was called so and so. I was called so and so." At the end, the judge got angry, got up and left the court for all of us. Yes, she left the court for all of us. And sadly, that was the end of proceedings for the day. Because remember that, we had approached, the lawyers had approached registrars, to help appeals and appeal to her to come back. But, the general consensus was that that was a policy, that she didn't take nonsense in our court. Nonsense in quotes in our court. So she wasn't coming back for that day, and that was how we weren't able to do anything at all for that day. And then these lawyers kept arguing even after the judge had left. So we found out that, okay, the older man was saying that the lady who had done a matter before the man was his junior at the bar. He didn't realize that she was a junior when she got up and called a matter. So he had decided that after a matter, he had to do his own matter, because he wasn't going to allow any other junior chancing. Now, this other younger man, our own opposing counsel, was saying that he and the lady were age mates at the bar. So, because she had called her matter, he automatically thought that, he had the floor, as he was now at par with or senior to any other person in court at that particular point in time. Because the assumption is that as soon as you call your matter and nobody opposes you as to age, it means that you're either senior to or at par with every lawyer in court at that point in time. So he was saying that that was his presumption. That's why he called his matter. So they went back and forth. And I think at some point we found out that, both of them, both men, were actually called at the same time. I think maybe they the same year. Maybe they had some months different. Maybe this person was called in this month, that person was called in that month. But it's that serious at the Nigerian bar. In fact, there are some lawyers that would go so low to ask the other party, "Oh, were you called in the morning or in the noon?" Because at the Nigerian bar, during call to bar, they call people in the morning and in the afternoon. I had an afternoon call. So it's very easy for a lawyer that was called in the morning could come and say, oh, when were you called, in the morning or in the evening? And when you say, oh, I was called in the evening, you'd say, oh, I was called in the morning, I'm your senior. So it's that serious at Nigerian bar. I really do not want to say that this is bad or good, but I think that everything needs balance. We need to be reasonable in everything we're doing. You should be able to, exploit the fact of your being older than other people in court at some points. But where it will become so unreasonable to the point of the judge actually getting up and abandoning every other person and every other matter for the day, I think you should just mellow and let peace reign. There are times when, I would go with my senior to court and, we won't be sure if this other person is senior to us or junior to us. And we'll just leave them to do their matter. When we get back to our chambers, we will bring out the directory. And, this is just on a joking level anyway. We bring out the directory, the lawyer's directory, and then we'll look for their name. Oh, let's check this person. When were they called? And then we'll be like, oh, we're even senior to them. Oh, they're senior. Oh, they're actually older. Oh, we're even age mates. We can say anything at that point in time. We're in our own office. But when we're in court, decorum is the order of the day. And some lawyers just throw this into the wind in a bit to assert, their seniority at the bar. I think it's poor practice. It's really sad. It's a bad thing. It's not a good habit, and nobody should, cultivate or perpetuate this habit. So I know that some lawyers have the argument that, oh, they have other things to do, they have other places to go. I have always advocated for a time slot type of practice in Nigeria, wherein lawyers are given time slots, to come and do their matters in court. So you know ahead of time that, okay, my matter is slated for Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. So you go there at 10:30. No other person is going to be competing with you as to, oh, I'm senior to you, I'm junior to you. I want to do my matter, I have other places to go. No, you come with your litigants, and then the opposing counsel meets you in court, you do your matter, and then you leave. That way, we'll be able to manage time effectively, one. And two, we'll be able to control crowd in court. When this COVID-19 issue arose, there was a lot of back and forth about virtual court hearings and all of that. I think that if we had adopted this time slots practice in Nigeria, we wouldn't have that problem and wouldn't have to be arguing about the constitutionality of virtual hearing and all of that. If people were given time slots, and you know that as you're going to court, it's only you, the litigants, the opposing counsel, the registrar, and the judge. You won't have any problem, and the clerk, or maybe an interpreter or any other court official, and the judge is orderly. You won't be afraid. There won't be issues of, oh, the court is going to be overcrowded. Oh, my Nigerian courts are overcrowded. I've been in court on a day when people could not get seats and they sat on the floor. Because in Nigeria, when people go to court, they come with appendages, friends, guests, family, cronies, acquaintances, all manners of appendages. An association. I remember there was a time I was in court, and a particular association, I think Association of Road Transport Workers or something like that, they had a matter in court, and a horde of them came. The court was filled to the brim, and we only realized this when they finished their matter and their lawyer was leaving, and they all thronged after, they all thronged out after their matter, and the court suddenly became almost empty. So we were wondering, wow, really? So these are the people that actually filled up the courtroom. You would think that there were other people who had other business in court. So that's what happens in Nigerian courts, and it's poor practice. It shouldn't be. Courts are not meant to be overcrowded. So if we had this time slot kind of practice where people, will come at a particular time, do their matter, and leave, it will help us to manage time effectively. You will know that you won't waste time on excessive demonstrations or showiness during your cross-examination, examination in chief, or re-examination, or what have you, so that you can finish the case in time for the next person to come for their own matter. And then it will help us manage the overcrowding that happens in court. And of course, it will take away this problem of age. If anybody has an age war to settle or to fight, they would have done that at the registry when registrars, are allotting time. You can go and lobby for maybe an earlier time because you are older than everybody at the bar. or whatever, but not in court where there should be decorum, where there should be, um, solemnity. It's a sober profession, it's a noble profession. People shouldn't be fighting. The courtroom should not be turned to a marketplace just because people want to assert their seniority. I have even been with a senior in court, and he was in a hurry to leave, and so there was another lawyer on the other side, of whose age we weren't certain. So my senior was asking the other lawyer beside us, how old is he, do you know him, and all of that, and that one was not sure too. But he said that generally it just allows older people to call their matter and leave. So my senior insisted that he had to find out how old he was at the bar, and he crossed to the other side of the bar to actually ask the lawyer. And he came back and told us that he had asked him, and he was actually his junior at the bar, despite being older in looks and probably real age. So we did our matter first, and then we were able to leave. So usually the main argument is that people don't want to sit in court and be watching their juniors calling their own matters and doing their own cases ahead of them. And two, people argue that they have places to go, they have clients to go back to the office and attend to, and other things to do. So they don't want to spend all day in court. But these are not enough reasons, for anyone to turn the court into a marketplace. So that's what I have for you today. Have you ever witnessed this? If a lawyer in Nigeria, how are you finding the age issue? Have you always been on the good side or the bad side? For me, I'm a young lawyer. I have a few years at the bar, so I don't even fight with anybody. I just sit down. I allow all my seniors to call their matter, and then I do my own matter. And I leave. I know there was a day that I was the last person to do my matter. I've said that before. When I got back to the office, I was telling my senior that, can you imagine, every other person did their matter, called their matter before I could do it. And he was like, oh, why didn't you call your matter ahead of them? I was like, sir, really? Are you telling me that right now? You know I'm a junior at the bar, and you're telling me that right now, sir? Really, really? So I respect myself a lot. So I don't even get into those fights, but I've witnessed several of them in the jurisdiction that I mentioned earlier, where everyone knew every other person. There was a time that a young lawyer, not so young, but at least younger than the prominent lawyers in that jurisdiction, and relatively new in the jurisdiction, she stood up, called her matter. It was the judge that actually told her to chill. It was the judge that actually told her to sit down because her seniors were ahead of her and they had to do their own matter before. So some judges might also, be part of that game. They might be enforcing that rule. I wouldn't say they are wrong or that they are right. I've even been in a jurisdiction where the judge actually gave preference to prosecutors because they were state government workers and they had to return to the state capital. So each time they were in that jurisdiction for their matter, it gave them preference to do their matters first and to leave so that they could return back to the state capital in good time. I think that's good practice. Essentially, we should bring reason into everything we're doing. So people should make their decisions based on reason, not just based on a number or age at the bar. So that's all I have for you today. Leave me comments in the comment section. Let me know how you're finding it if you're a lawyer in Nigeria, how you're finding the age issue. Have you been caught in the web? Have you jumped and called your matter ahead of your seniors? And have you been reprimanded for doing that? Or have you had to sit in court all day and wait for all seniors, to call their matters and do their cases before you did yours? So let me know in the comment section. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share the video with your friends, share it with your fools, and I will see you in my next video. Toodles!